Welcome to the Neoncast, and today we're doing something a little different.
But we're doing a Jojo SPOILERCAST episode. I'm Sam.
And I'm Jim.
And we just finished part 5, or he did. I read it.
Yes.
Already.
So
Flawless
intro. I might do another.
No, it's fine. I like that.
Alright, it was good.
It's fine.
Okay, so if you normally follow us in the Neoncast, we normally talk about anime that are kind of weird, that have like cat girls in it, which I think is kind of funny.
The usual.
But I wanted to have a spoiler cast where we talk about part 5 Jojo, because I just finished reading it and it was really great and I liked it a lot.
I'm glad that Japan's #1 favorite part.
Yeah, that's really funny that there's like different, there's so many different opinions about Jojo. Like, so many people prefer different parts over other ones for many reasons.
Yeah.
So yeah, just like obviously we're gonna spoil everything in part 5, from like characters to like the very ending. So if you haven't read part 5,
Then what are you doing here, you dingus? Go read it.
yeah, exactly, it's great. There's even color versions of it. It's awesome.
Yeah, there's at least part 5 is like halfway colored.
Yeah.
Or 3/4 of the way.
And if not, just read it anyway. The art's pretty good.
Araki's pretty great.
His posing is the best part. He doesn't understand how bodies work, but
It's fine.
so I just thought we start talking about the characters a little bit.
Alright.
Who was your favorite character? If you could pick a favorite out of part 5.
I personally love Mista a lot. Trish is my favorite JoJo girl out of all of them, so...
Mista
and Trish.
Mista is like right up neck and neck with Bruno, but I think I like Bruno the most.
Bruno's great too. He's best. I think he's my favorite Joe bro as like the second hand.
He's really cool. He's
right there next to Gyro as like my 2 favorite.
Yeah, okay. I forgot to qualify. So Sam has read and watched all of JoJo.
Up to date till part 8. That's still ongoing.
I have only watched parts 1 through 4, and I just started reading part 5. I've not read much past part 5. I started part 6, but we won't talk about any spoilers past part 5. So
yeah.
As long as you've...
I might name drop a character from like comparing them, but like that's only if you actually know it, and it'll just be like
it won't
Spanish
be like
to
a spoiler.
Yeah. I'll do name drop. I won't talk about any important
good.
plot points.
Yeah, no spoilers, please. So yeah, I really liked Bruno. Bruno was he's a really different character, because normally like the Joseph or the Joe character,
Joestar.
Yeah, the Joestar is like kind of the leader of the group. But Bruno really was the leader. Like, everyone respected.
He was following Giorno, but he was he was really like
he was the mastermind.
Yeah.
He was the one that would always like command everyone. Everyone respected him more than anyone else in the group.
Yeah, you had like Mista, who was like the muscle, the range muscle. You had Fugo with the close range muscle. You had
Trish not doing anything.
She didn't get her stand like halfway in. So,
she still didn't do anything. That's one of my biggest complaints.
Marancia was like a scout / it's airborne, and then what's it called? And then Abacchio was just like the utility like. Funny. He was basically totally getting the messages from the boss.
Yeah.
So
they had a pretty I think that. Like, I'm going to leave my judgments till the end of this if I'm still thinking about it. But as a cast, I think they have the strongest cast out of all the parts so far, at least the main cast.
Yeah, Abachi had a good backstory. I like that more. I like his whole...
Yes. His whole thing with being a crooked cop was really cool.
He didn't get much of a backstory other than, like, that flashback. Like, character other than that flashback. And, so...
That was one of the problems. I guess it's kind of a problem with, any sort of comic book, is when you have such a story to tell, it's hard to give every character their own bit. And they do get, everyone has their own little flashback sequence.
Yeah.
Which some are, really good, and others I'm just whatever.
Yeah.
Like, Narencia's was really good. I really like Narencia. He was a really cool character.
What was that one again?
He was, just a really, fucked kid. He just... I think he was orphaned or something.
Okay, that's right.
And he just couldn't do well in school, and he just was immediately went to a life of crime. And
yeah, it's been a while since I read through part 5, by the way. So
yeah,
some things are still fuzzy to me. But so let's talk about, should we character one by one, the main crew then, to what we
No, you kind of did.
I meant talk about them, understand
yeah,
basically.
Okay.
So, you want to do with Giorno?
Yeah, Giorno. I really like Giorno. As a character, he's one of my favorite JoJos, I think.
So his Joestar lineage is the son of Dio, but when Dio had Jonathan's body, so technically he's a Joestar.
So technically he's
Joseph's
grandfather.
He has two dads.
He does have 2 dads. Oh my god.
He has 2 dads.
Well, he has 3 dads, actually, if you consider his stepdad that abused him.
2 blood dads. And then one stepdad.
Yeah. So yeah, he had an abusive father, and
His mom was like somehow got spared of being drained of blood.
Yeah, one of Dio's concubines. Which that was really cool. I did not know that he was a child of Dio. And apparently there's more. I don't know if they come in later. No spoil. But they hinted that there were like several other children of Dio, which I thought was very interesting. I didn't think about that. But it's cool how he's kind of like, he takes the whole Dio thing, and he's kind of a bad guy. Like, he's totally a bad guy because he wants to be a gangster.
Well, let's just say this part, everyone basically murders, like, everyone. Yes. There's, like, no one that really gets out alive, like, bad guy-wise.
The first, like, stand that Giorno encounters, well, besides Bruno, is Polpo, who he, like,
makes him
literally kills.
He makes him shoot himself in the head.
Yeah, which is one of the coolest parts when
talk about his stand first. Talk about his stand.
Yeah. So Giorno's ability, he turns like non-living matter into living matter.
It's called Gold Experience.
Gold Experience, named after Prince. One of the reasons why this Jojo is super hard to adapt in the West is because Araki just chooses all these really hard to get rights for band names.
Especially how anal Prince was.
Yeah, Prince especially could not have been picked a worse
stand for Jojo. Loved Prince too much, so continue.
Yeah, so he's really Gold Experience is really like one of those ass pull stands where almost anything can happen as long as it's a quote unquote living matter.
Yeah, you can turn anything to like a living being, or a living thing.
Even parts of his own body. Like there's a part where he turns his tooth into like
one tooth into a jellyfish, so he couldn't drink piss.
Yeah, as part of his gang initiation. Was it Abaccio or Fugo?
It was Mista, I think.
Was it Mista?
I'm pretty sure Mista was the one who gave him piss because he's the only one lewd enough to do that.
He is quite lewd.
So.
But so yeah, he like changes his teeth, which I guess are living. The teeth are living. Like teeth have veins in them and shit.
I thought you could only turn like not living stuff into living.
I know. That's why I was confused why he turned his teeth. Well, this is like
your
semantics.
Teeth aren't really. Like, I don't
teeth are alive. Teeth can rot.
Yeah,
teeth bleed. Teeth have blood in them.
Teeth have blood in them, but they're not like your own creature.
Oh, bones are living matter.
It's Iraqi. Don't talk about Lojo the logic. There's still like, plenty of plot holes.
But there's a lot of really cool like team ups that he does, like especially with Sex Pistols.
I love Sex Pistols.
Which is Mista's, where he like he'll have like bullets shoot through his hand, and then the bullet will be like affected by his like magical bullshit.
Giorno can basically heal himself by bullshit also.
Like yeah, I really like that. Like that's something that he like awakens later. Like he gets like a new battle. What's it called? Battle fighting spirit, and he's able to like restore parts of people's bodies by recreating them. So it's a lot of really fun body horror where Jojo is like, or Giorno is like holding like his eye in his hand, or he creates a tongue out of like a rock.
But he's still technically Jojo because in Italian, Gio is just like the Joe sound.
Yeah.
So.
Giorno Giovanna.
And as soon as you loved him next, you can do Bruno. Like.
Yeah, Bruno, who is like.
His Joe bro.
Yeah, he's like one of like Jojo has a kind of thing where it's like Jojo's not always the main character, and in this one it kind of feels like Bruno's the main character.
Like in part 3, Paul and Arf seem more so the main character than Jotaro.
Even like Koichi in part 4 sometimes he feels more like a protagonist, the protagonist than Jojo.
From his perspective and everything.
Apparently there's a word for this. I saw in like a wiki, it's called like a deutero protagonist or deuteragonist.
I had no idea.
Which literally means like the secondary protagonist, whatever.
I felt that way in part 7 also.
Okay.
Like, you got a lot of character, like almost as much as like Johnny did.
But so Bruno has the coolest stand ever in my opinion. Sticky Fingers.
You love this one.
It's like I think it's just there's so much like fun with it where he creates like zippers everywhere. Really cool. He can like create holes through walls. He can like separate items, so he can separate his arm. He separates one guy's head in one of the best scenes. He separates a dude's head. Yeah, he zips his mouth shut so he can't talk. And then they like prop his head up with his glasses like facing the sun so that his eyes are slowly burning and he can't move because his body is like somewhere else. Horrifying. I love the body horror in JoJo.
And Bruno is like probably has the most fights other than like.
I think him and Mista and Giorno have like the most out of the three.
Like, also, like, he has his whole. Should we talk about like the whole encounter, like his whole like character, like the whole like
how he dies,
the zombie kind of thing?
Yeah, that's something that like I'm not too sure about. Is it supposed to be like when he fights King Crimson for the first time, he gets killed? Yeah. But then Giorno, I always say Jojo, Giorno like revives him. Was that like him coming back with his like own like determination?
I'm like. That part always confused me a little bit. Part 5, I thought it had something to do with Rolling Stones from that chapter. Like,
Yeah, but it sucks because that's explained like way after the fact.
It's an epilogue.
Yeah.
Chapter.
So Rolling Stone, the whole thing is that it's like when it's another stand user, and the whole thing is like it predicts your death. Like if you touch it, if you touch Rolling Stone, like you'll see your death.
And he'll try. Rolling Stone will try to kill you because it wants to do a quick death, other than like a painful death that you're fated to.
Yeah. So, like Araki tries to like explain why Bruno was alive after he died, but it doesn't really work. It's the best thing to just like smile at it and be like, Jojo. But so his whole thing is he like gets killed, but he still is like the same Bruno. He still has the same personality, but whenever he gets like hurt, he doesn't bleed. He doesn't have a pulse anymore. Other characters like touch him and they say he feels stone cold.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
I see.
He's awesome. I love his sense of style.
Everyone's style is like pretty fabulous in this. Like, alright, so next up is what's it called?
Mista.
So Mista, he's kind of gets a lot of the fights. He's getting called Sex Pistols. You think it's a gun stand, but it's more like these 6 little guys. Except for they're all numbered 1 to 7, but he skipped 4 because he's afraid of number 4. I love that. And so he has a normal revolver, a 6-shot revolver, but the little guys, they talk to him, he feeds them. They work as like ricochets.
Yeah.
So they kind of kick the bullets, or they can ride the bullet and like turn it like a certain way while it's going on there. And I love them.
Yeah, I love Sex Pistols.
And Mista's kind of an asshole, which I love. Like. Yeah,
Mista is a good personality. The one thing that annoys me with him is like sometimes like things are too serious and he's being too much of an asshole. Like he needs to tone it down a bit because if he'd be a little bit more understanding, he'd realize that there's a problem.
Like the part when they say, look, near the end, like where they say like. Bruno's dead, but it goes like the Trish and Mista just laughing.
Yes. Oh my god. That and the part when Narancia has talking head, and he can't tell lies, so Narancia's only telling lies, so he's acting really weird, and Bruno just starts getting really angry, or not Bruno, Mista starts getting really mad at him, like he can do it, like clearly there's something wrong with this boy, the way he's behaving.
And so, yeah, Mista gets a lot of the fight. He's probably some of the best fights. Like, I love White Album.
Yeah, the White Album fight is one of the coolest.
Like, it's like really good. And then, so, yeah, he basically their gunman.
Mm-hmm.
So, and, I do Fugo. Fugo is the Swiss cheese wearing man himself. Has
the most holes in his
He has one clothing. Of the most OP stands called Purple Haze. Mm. Another, Jimi Hendrix and everything. So his is basically, he has like little knuckle bubbles, and the bubbles break. They release like a poisonous gas that can kill you in like a minute.
It's literally like 30 seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds or a minute or something like that.
So quick.
But it can affect him too, so you have to be like really careful.
Yeah, that is hilarious. It's kind of neat that they bring up like he's really reluctant to use the stand.
Yeah, he's kind of afraid to use it.
That's really cool because like no other character's ever gone through that in JoJo that I can think of. Because like even like characters like Abdul, who has a really destructive one, they're just like, we just use it, like just burn this building down.
Use it indoors.
Yeah. No, but Fugo's like, wow, this could like hurt me or my friends.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
So yeah, he only gets like one real fight inside Part 5 because Araki realized, this guy is way too OP. We have to write him out, and they do.
Yeah, that was kind of like obvious. Like
I told you this, how like Araki wanted to like write him, like he wanted to have him be like a spy for the boss.
Yeah.
So he would betray them, but he's going through tough times. He didn't want the thought of like a dear friend betraying them and having to kill him. Like I thought of that. Aw.
Yeah, that was the really bittersweet moment because it was like Fugo didn't want to leave. You could tell that he was like really fighting it. Him and Narancia were like on the fence, and then only Narancia was the one
jumps into the water.
He literally jumps in the water and like chases after the team to rejoin them.
And then
to his chagrin when he
comes back in the light novel Purple Haze Speed Back, which is like what gives him like half his moveset inside like any of the fighting games.
Have you read that?
I haven't, but I read a little bit about it.
I heard it's really good.
His stand gets like an upgrade kind of thing to it.
That's cool.
So, talk about my favorite girl, Trish.
Oh, yeah.
So, she's the daughter of the boss, and she acts like a girl, like, she goes shopping or anything, but, like, at this one fight, Notorious B.I.G., great neighbors stand. But, so she develops her stand, because she's the daughter of the boss, and they know that the boss has a stand, they kind of aware that she's going to have one, but they just don't know what it is going to develop as. It's kind of like a sentient, kind of like a stand that talks to her, kind of like how Echo's Act 3 was, we talked to her. And so it's called Spice Girl. I love it.
And it's cry. It's
wanna be.
It's the best thing ever.
So good, and her stand she can soften anything it touches.
Which is like, I can see why he like. There's a lot of potential with that, but Trish never really gets anything to do.
Yeah,
with
they give her like one. That's her one, but she beats the most powerful stand they probably fought against inside part 5. So, and it just comes a legend sea monster.
Yeah, that was really cool. There are some like what's it called? Echoes. Not Echo. Like not the stand, but there's some like kind of references that remind me of part 4, where the whole thing in part 4 is like whenever they dealt with someone, they wouldn't kill them, but they'd like alter the town in a weird way. So
they're like a landmark.
Yeah, so like the one dude became like a stone, which is actually horrifying.
I know.
And then the one like the bouncy, what's it called?
The bouncing rock.
Yeah, the bouncing rock. So there's things like that, and that kind of reminded me like when they would do things like the legacies of what the stand is. So, like, because Notorious B.I.G. it was like invincible or whatever because the stand user died.
The answer it only activates when the stand user dies.
Which is the stupidest
I don't know
condition
how you realize
ever.
that is how stand works. So.
I know exactly.
But yeah, so.
But that was cool how it falls into the ocean, and because it's a attack auto stand ability is like it attacks things that move. It just stays in the ocean,
attacks the waves.
Attacking waves. Occasionally, occasionally attacking ship. That was really cool.
Yeah. So So Trish. Yeah, I love Trish. I love her design. I love her stand. But she didn't really get to do that much.
Yeah, it was a shame.
For being the boss, like the daughter of the boss, like she didn't do much. And then there's you wanna do a Baccio?
Yeah, there's a Baccio and Narencia left.
You can do those two then.
Yeah, Baccio, he was neat. It's a shame he wasn't like my favorite character.
But he had probably the best backstory.
Yeah. I wish that he had been able to do more in the time that like the current, but he has this whole backstory about him being like a crooked cop, and his actions of like letting crime slide actually got his partner killed and got him like fucked. I thought that was really neat because it shows like how all over these characters are. They're not all like Narencia, who's just a poor kid.
Yeah. They're all just like orphaned recruiters or something.
It's cool how
they all have their own unique history. They all drew them to crime.
And how they all kind of met Bruno, and Bruno guided them and really became like their leader in a sense.
It's his gang.
Yeah, really. And his stand is kind of neat too because it's very like a lot of potential with it because of the way it like
Moody Blues.
Yeah, Moody Blues can like go back in time in a way.
Like rewind and see like
if a person was like standing there, or like what a person's actions were. It was really cool when he used it to fly the airplane. I thought that was really neat.
It's like Detective Vision in the Batman games where you kind of recreate the crime scene.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they do that a few times. That was a really cool one. Whenever they use it, I was always kind of impressed.
Yeah.
And then Narencia, who is Aerosmith, who's
little boy.
I think he's the youngest. He's really little, but they're all like very close in age. I mean, Giorno's only 15.
He looks like
He looks like he's like a regular Joe.
He's not nearly as bulky though.
No, that's one thing I did like about this part is like the art style. Like the characters get like slimmer.
With the villains are like pudgy and weird.
Yeah, they start to get like more and more freaky designs. But Narencia, I think we did explain. He was kind of like a street orphan.
Yeah, we did a little bit. We explained.
Yeah, and Aerosmith's a really cool stand. I like it's kind of got like two abilities, like where it's like the plane that can shoot the gun, but it also can see the
radar.
Yeah, when people
like
breathe.
A UAV kind of thing.
Yeah, it's only when people breathe though. It like detects carbon dioxide. That was really cool because when I first saw that, it was in the fight with Little Feet.
Yeah.
Which is that's a really awesome fight because there's a whole part where as he's shrinking, his stand shrinks, and then he has to fight like the huge rats, and then there's a part where the stand user, the Little Feet, whose name I forget, puts him in a bottle with like a huge spider, so he has to like fight a spider in like a little bottle. That was really cool. But like they keep bringing back the whole like him using the radar, and like the one part I thought was really cool. So let's keep talking because I'll have forever. Was when right after the Metallica fight, when King Crimson fights Metallica. Metallica like took all of the iron out of his blood, so King Crimson couldn't breathe properly. So when he was breathing, he wasn't showing up on Narencia's radar, so they didn't know King Crimson was there, and that allowed him to get away and kill Baccio, which is always like a really clever use of. There's like 3 stands going on, like
multiple stands.
Yeah, I thought that was really, really cool writing. Like
yeah, there was I think only 3 more characters to talk. I think 2 are more prominent characters, not including the turtle.
The turtle.
Jumble, that just how they travel around. Tide Turtle that had a VIP suite in his back. Mr.
That
President.
was awesome.
Mr.
I love
President.
that.
It's called Mr. President.
Yeah, that's such a cool It was funny because I thought they were going to use it for the train, but they use it the whole time. That turtle is a character.
In Eyes of Heaven is used. That's how they get all the characters to travel around. They get Jojo just had the turtle in his pocket, and everyone's sitting in there and travel through the portal. It's pretty great.
That was really funny.
And then I guess we talk about the villain before we talk about the returning characters.
Yeah.
So we talk about the main villain is Diablo/Doppio Vinegar.
Vinegar.
So he is the boss, Trish's dad.
Yeah.
But he has kind of two personalities, but
and he still looks like a kid.
Yeah, when you turn the kid personality, he turns to the kid, and that's why you ever see his intro, he just walks up through the little the wall thing, and turns into the adult. So so he's a two personality, but the Diablo personality is aware of the smaller one. The smaller one's not aware of the other one.
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of really funny scenes where he's constantly.
The only way you can talk to him is if he makes him think. It makes him think there's a phone nearby, and he picks it up. It's usually an ice cream cone.
Yeah, this part where he grabs a frog.
Yeah.
And Doppio's holding a frog, and he's like, "Yes, boss. What?" That was really confusing at first. The reveal. That was one of my complaints about Part 5. Is the reveal of the split personality thing wasn't clear to the point where in the next chapter there was a preface picture. They'll do the character relationship things. They did that, and they explained in that Doppio is the boss. Doppio is the second personality. So it was. I wish they had handled it a little better. Maybe in if they do an anime adaptation of it, it'll be a little more clear.
Yeah.
It was just kind of hard when, especially it's a translated one. Who knows how on point the translation is.
And then he has the meme stand itself, King Crimson.
Which is really cool.
It just works.
I love the way it looks.
I love the look of it too. It's my favorite design for a stand.
It's another one of the stands that just inexplicably has two powers.
So Jim, can you explain to us, what does King Crimson do?
Alright, I've been waiting my entire life for this moment. King Crimson erases time. That is the easiest way to say it. In a way, it's better to understand it as King Crimson stops time for 10 seconds, but he's the only one that can do anything within that time, but time still passes as it's hard to explain. So yeah, he's kind of erasing your memory. It's a better way to think of it. He's erasing the memory, and he's the only one that can really act in that time.
So he kind of has two stands. So
that was the one ability.
So the one stand, it lets him see 10 seconds into
Epitaph.
Into just 10 seconds into the future, so he can kind of see. So he can delete 10 seconds. He basically delete the call. You delete the.
It's so hard. It really
basically delete 10-second time frame and just delete it. So you just kind of jump. You realize something's off, but you don't know what happened.
Yeah.
And he remembers, but
the cool thing that the characters learn to do is they prick their finger and then they count how many blood droplets happen. Mm-hmm. That was really cool.
In the fighting games, you activate King Crimson, and the 10 seconds you take damage, but when the thing wears off, you just heal up any damage you've taken.
Oh, that's neat.
So it didn't actually happen.
That's an interesting mechanic.
It's game not about balance, so yeah. Alright, yeah. So he's the main villain. He's trying to. The whole thing was getting Trish to him, but he wanted to kill her, and then Bruno says I can't let this happen, and then basically get her out and trying to run away until they get a contact.
That was really cool.
So he's basically chasing them now, after that.
Yeah, for a while, I thought they were going to pair up Bruno and Trish.
Now it's Mista and Trish, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that it makes a lot more sense, especially at the end. But there's one part where Doppio is... his eyes are destroyed and his ears are destroyed and he can't see or hear anything because he's dead or whatever. And he thinks that Doppio's Trish because he feels the energy. So he's talking to Doppio. He's like, Trish, I'm gonna die, but there's a little house for my hometown that I own. I want you to have it. Go live in Naples in my house. It was a really sweet moment, even though it wasn't actually Trish.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting. So he definitely cared for her. I mean, otherwise he wouldn't have fought the boss and turned traitor in the boss.
Then. So yeah, he's the main villain to fight. We'll get into more the actual final fight. I think we'll talk about that later.
There's so much that happens in the last.
That last fight's a doozy.
That's awesome.
So we get our returning character, our prominent returning character, none other than Jean-Pierre Polinar in a wheelchair with metal legs.
Yeah.
because he got fucked by Diablo, the only person to survive. Because everyone who met Diablo died. Like, no one had seen his face and lived.
Because his stand is so OP.
Yeah. So, but Giorno got knocked off a cliff. The guy that, like, I guess that's taken care of and walked away.
Mm-hmm.
And he lived, and he's trying to, like, you know, guide Giorno to the Colosseum so he can, like, explain to, like, Diablo and his secret of his stand and everything.
One thing I thought was cool about, like, he had the metal legs. The legs, like, you see the legs first before you see him, and, like, in the back of my head, it kind of, like, the leg design reminded me of, like, Silver Chariot's design. Yeah. So, like, before I even, like, thought about it, it kind of, there was, like, part of my mind that was, like, oh, this looks familiar. Like, that was a really cool reveal, I thought. Yeah,
and he's, like, yeah, so he saw Silver Chariot, but the Silver Chariot had, like, little stubs, like, on his legs.
Yeah.
I thought, like, I love that.
Yeah, that was cool.
And...
the stand.
He's not backward. We'll talk about we can't really talk about Pawn until we talk about the final fight. Yeah. But it's kind of I think they want to bring back. I think it was awesome to see him.
Yeah, I think we'll save that for the end. We'll talk about like some more.
Because the final fight is just like a whole conversation. Like
there's so many like hilarious things that happen.
Weird things, yeah. So we talked. That's basically all the main characters that you had to like introduce to.
Yeah.
And then
really great cast.
And so are there any of the villains? We're not gonna talk about like every villain, but are there any villain/stands that you really like stuck with you?
I think let's talk about like really cool fights.
Our number one, I think we both agree, is Metallica.
The Metallica fight was so cool.
Metallica's this horrifying stand and like
the part
the part with the razor blades.
The part with the razor, the part when he turns Doppio's like iron in his mouth into like razor blades and he's coughing razor blades out was like ugh. That like made me cringe so hard. That and the
White Album.
The part when his foot got cut off and then the little like load. What did you get that reference to?
Which one?
He has like in his bloodstream because what Metallica is, it's like his blood.
Yeah, the iron.
Yeah, the iron is blood, and they're like little stands. And there's a part where like
I've seen the stand.
They connect, like they reconnect his foot. And since it's Metallica, they say Load, because Load is a shitty Metallica album.
Oh, okay.
I thought that was funny. It's like Load.
I don't like Metallica that much.
No, Metallica is really good, and then they got really bad, and they stayed really bad.
Death Magnetic.
Yeah. Who cares? Who cares about Death Magnetic? No one. But that whole fight was awesome. Yeah, it was like so intense. One of
my top favorites. I mean, probably my favorite part 5 fight.
Yeah, it's really cool too because it like kind of the narrator kind of becomes Doppio in that chapter, and you kind of forget about the main cast, and it's like you get to see like the big bad in peril, which is like awesome.
Well, you don't know he's a big bad. At first, we're in that chapter, we assume that he's just a number 2. That he's like he talks for the boss, so the boss doesn't want to be seen, so he's the only person allowed. To,
they kind of explained it by then because he has King Crimson.
Well,
because he uses the epitaph.
Well, he talked on the phone. We were like, okay, where is this going on? And like, how they talking to the boss? He's like, I'll let you because in Diablo talked to him. He said, I'll let you borrow my stand for this fight.
By that time, you do know that they're the same.
But early on, you just assume he's like he's just number 2, like info man.
Yeah, before that chapter, like the first Metallica versus King Crimson chapter, that's when they have that thing that explains that.
Yeah.
Then the preface. That they're the same person.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little clear. But he can only use the epitaph ability. So he has that little face coming out of his forehead.
Yeah, that's epitaph.
Which I love that because King Crimson has like the 2 faces.
What's another fight? I think White Album.
White Album,
very
for sure.
Good. I love that one.
It was so like that was another one that was like edge of my seat. Like every choice of the because it was Giorno and Mista fighting a guy who wore his stand. That was really cool.
Yeah, we introduced a couple like armor like suit stands that are just like. It's just they go wrap around you. They're not really like a actual humanoid looking thing.
Which is really, I think that's a really cool idea.
There's like 2 of them in that part.
Yeah.
Oasis.
Yeah, it was Oasis.
So yeah, that was like really cool to see. Like he can like use ice, like ice based.
And he was so OP. He could literally like create like the like absolute zero. Like he could freeze things to the point where like. Even like physical matter stops growing, or physical matter stops, which is like totally cucks Giorno, which is really cool because like it was totally like they had to outsmart him in like the most Jojo way, like
Jojo ass pull.
Yeah, they couldn't like overpower.
There's a lot of ass pulls in this part.
Yeah, it's great though.
And then that part just really good. Ice abilities are always like ridiculous, like Pet Shop was.
I love too that Giorno thought it was a good idea to drive the car into because they're on a bridge and he drives it into the like ocean. Like really, he's just gonna freeze this water over, you idiot. That also showed how like awesome Mista's resolve was.
Mista's great. Like he's some of the best because like his gun isn't the stand. He has to like use a real gun to actually hit these bullets. So what's another fight? I think probably one of the most famous fights, also the train fight
with Beach Boy and Grateful Dead.
Yeah,
that one was awesome. They were like really cool characters too because they were like so determined. It's like Jojo is like the best when the characters are like super passionate.
Yeah, like so the one guy he can like rapidly de-age by like
rapidly age.
Rapidly age, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But like he I mean he had touch him or like
no, it's just vicinity. So he makes like everyone on the train.
But if you had like moisture on you, you could like go reverse it. But
how they explain it is like your body temperature dictates how quickly you age. So if your body temperature is colder, you age slower. That's why Trish doesn't age as fast because women have cold. Giorno is like an encyclopedia.
Iraqi science.
Yeah, Giorno literally is just like he'll be like, oh, I read this once. Like there's a part where in the Green Day fight, he's like, I read that some fungi can't grow upwards; they need to grow downhill. And then this one too, Giorno's like
the moisture.
You know what? I read that women have colder body temperature than men.
Damn it, Trish! Why couldn't you evolve your stand earlier?
I know, right?
But like
that would have been a perfect time, actually.
Yeah, what's it called? So yeah, so he rapidly de-aged, and they had to kill the guy, but they had to have like only a limited number of ice cubes to keep themselves moist. So Mista goes out there. Mista, Bruno go out there, and
that were the two main people that fought.
Yeah, and Rizzo gets fucking shot in the head in that part like 3 times.
He does. It's awesome.
He gets touched by him and gets like de-aged even faster.
Uh-huh.
And then, like, he gets shot in the head 3 times. I bet Sex Pistols, like, strode at the bullets out of his head.
I love Sex Pistols so much. They care so much about their stand user.
Because they gotta feed him.
Yeah.
It's like Harvest was, like, adorable and, like, talking.
Yeah, exactly.
Not with a shit kid.
Harvest.
And then there was Beach Boy, who, he looked like a fucking, his name is Pesci, because Joe Pesci is an Italian actor. And then, he's a fat motherfucker, too.
Yeah.
But he had a fishing line, and the fishing line can go through, like, anything, like, any surface or wall, and, like, hook on you, and you could not get the hook off. That's, like...
and it, like, what he normally goes for is, like, he tries to get the hook to go to your heart. So there's a lot of parts where the character, like, Bruno has to...
Zipper.
Yeah, he has to, like, punch his own arm and, like, unzip his arm to get the hook line out. Which was really cool. That part is awesome because that has when Bruno separates his body into like a million pieces, and then the one ability can still detect his heart, so he has to like split his heart into 2, and he's just like dying there. And they're one Sex Pistol.
It's like when Jojo grabbed his heart.
Yeah, and then the end of part 3. It reminded me of that. But one of the Sex Pistols is with Bruno, and he's like, Bruno, you gotta revive yourself. You're gonna die. He's like freaking out, and then Bruno's like, no, it's okay. And then he's like starts to die. But then of course he zips himself back together because he's Bruno.
Because he's fucking Bruno and zippers.
Yeah.
That was like one of my favorite like.
That was fucking awesome.
Then there's a really weird one.
Babyface.
Babyface.
That was right after Babyface. Like
right after that one.
Yeah. Well, the ending of the. What's it called? Beach Boy and Grateful Dead fight was amazing because he like, what's his face? Bruno throws Grateful Dead out of the train, and he gets caught in the wheels, and his whole body gets like discombobulated in the wheels, but he's still alive. So Grateful Dead still is working while he's like Bruno's fighting Pesci. Then it's so awesome.
It's so great.
But then like since the train stopped because there's like man in the wheels, Babyface comes and he like.
All right, so I'll try to explain this one. So his stand is a laptop, first of all.
Which is so weird.
And to make his stand work, he needs to find a woman, and he finds some bitchy ass woman like on the train.
For some rich bitch.
So he like does something with her and gets like impregnates her, and she gives birth in like a matter of minutes, but she doesn't even realize it.
Yeah. And it comes out of like her hair. It was really creepy.
Yeah. And like the stand's kind of born another stand out of it, and the stand has to learn. Like, it talks to him through the computer.
Yeah.
So like he tells to go after Giorno and them. Like we have to grow up and learn, tell him what to do and everything. And just like it's really weird. Just like the stand battle does weird. It's more the inception of the stand and what it does. It's like the bizarre.
It's kind of like a rape stand. Like when he encounters her,
it's a rape that you don't realize it's a rape.
Yeah, like she definitely suffers. Like she's freaked out by what's happening, but she doesn't really know what happens afterwards. And the baby it's really small. It lives in her hair for a little bit, and it learns from her, and it like loves her, but it ends up. There's a part where the baby's like the part where the baby pees. And it like her whole like head and arm gets covered in piss, and she's like, "What the fuck's happening?" She's
a really bitchy lady, so I'm the best person to learn from.
Yeah, and then the baby, she says something like she wants to kill the train conductor because she's angry that she got peed on, and the baby's like, kill. My mommy taught me how to kill, and it's really weird. But then it ends up like drinking her dry. There's a part where it's like, I'm thirsty, and then Babyface's user like, no, don't drink yet. No, you can't do that. You're not grown. And then it drinks her, and she's like a skeleton. It's really weird.
Body horror. And then the only other like there's Polpo's the first one, which I love the ending of that. It stands Black Sabbath, and it's kind of just like a nonstop like going after someone stand.
Mm-hmm.
But it has like one of the best conclusions to a stand fight.
Awesome.
The whole thing, Giorno was like initiation by Polpo, and he's giving him a lighter and said, you cannot let this lighter go out for like 24 hours or something like that. And so the whole time his stand is chasing him was like he had the stand arrow in its mouth, which is like, you know that from other parts, like a big deal. And it explains how other people in the gang got stands.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. That was
because they would stab them if they were strong enough. They get a stand. And that's when they stabbed like a random ass janitor.
Yeah, and it didn't work.
It didn't work, and he died.
Yeah, that was the he destroys that one. I think Giorno destroys that arrow. That's why it never shows up again.
And then basically he goes to Polpo like, yeah, I got your fucking lighter right here. He walks away, and like the guy Polpo is a big fat motherfucker in jail. Like he's like those gangsters living really like pompous life in jail because they're that much power. He's a banana, but Giorno turned the outside of the gun into a banana, so like he just shoots himself in the mouth and eats the banana. Which I love that.
It's so awesome.
It's so good. One of my favorites.
I love the image, the final image where he's got like the gun like in his whole mouth, and he's like, oh, and then
I don't know what the trigger is, but
yeah,
his mouth that sensitive.
Very lucky for Giorno that he was able to like quickly just grab the trigger and blow his own brains out.
There's one more I want to talk about, like Green Day and Oasis.
Yeah, that was really cool.
So Oasis is another suit stand. It can go through any surface.
It creates mud. They explained that it turns stone into mud, and that it maneuvers through like it's a mud substance.
And Green Day was a mold stand where like at lower altitudes.
Yeah, the whole thing was like the
higher he is, like
I think it's where his height is in relation to you, and also if you go lower than where you currently are, it affects you worse.
Yeah.
So there's a part where
you have to race uphill to get to him.
Like Naranci has to jump out of the boat. They're in a boat, and then the boat's lower than the dock, and then Naranci has to jump out of that because he starts to get eaten. That was really cool.
But it does have the best manga like ending to like a stand fight of the 3-paged Muda.
Where Giorno just unloads.
Giorno just obliterates him. You get the end of the part 6. I was like I'll talk about that later.
No.
So, but yeah, so that's one of my favorite like the best satisfying 3-punch Mudas that I don't know how to do an anime adaptation.
Yeah, it would be like 10 minutes long.
So
that whole end of the fight was so awesome because it was like perfect JoJo fight where the stakes are always like changing and like, oh my god, Giorno's got that upper hand. Oh no, he's got the upper hand. The part when Green Day realizes that he can like separate his limbs. Green Day stand user can separate his limbs, and then he's able to like trick Jojo or Giorno. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, and like the sugar cube thing too, like he
that was weird.
Fed like Oasis a sugar cube.
Yeah, it was strange. There's a lot of really strange like relationships between. There's actually, I think it's like, what's it called? Talking Head and who is it? Talking Head and the
Clash.
Clash, yeah. They were just totally gay. Like they were two men that were just like they loved each other. Like they were like hugging each other every time. Kind of reminded me of in home movies. You ever see home movies?
No.
Oh, there's like two little kids. There's a little white kid and a black kid, and they like love each other, and they're always hugging. And, oh my god.
Well, I don't know, cause like in I have it on PS4. If you pick Mista and Giorno, they have an intro thing where Mista's like aiming a gun, and Giorno comes up and grabs his hand with the gun and help him aim. It's like insane. That
happens, I think.
I know.
In it though, that's really funny.
But like it's really weird.
That part was I think that was during the Green Day Oasis fight actually.
It's still really odd.
It is really
see
odd.
that in like motion like that
though.
Like something looked better like a manga, but something looked really weird in animation.
I want to see this now. That sounds really funny.
I try to do it, but like it's bizarre. And then there's like the weird stand of Notorious B.I.G., which only activated when the stand user died.
And it was just like
Carne, who's just like this fat motherfucker.
Yeah, all the stand users are named after food.
So they're going on an airplane. They're taking off. Like some guy following behind us, some really weird guy. Like Mr. looks out there. He just shoots him like a couple times and kills him. Like okay, guys, we take that care of that. You shot him dead.
It was hilarious.
Okay, assassin down. We're good. And then just got like this unstoppable like monster that just feeds everything.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, imagine the Blob.
Yeah.
Which is like I know Araki loves horror movies because a lot of the part 3 things were based off horror movies. Because you think of like the doll one was Chucky. They had they had the Yellow Temper was the Blob. Like they had zombies with the mist and everything.
Oh, that's right. Wow. Huh. That's funny.
Yeah, you think of that, like all of them are based off horror.
Yeah.
This Creatures from the Black Lagoon was like the ship guy.
Mm-hmm.
The monkey, which is a monkey.
This is a King Kong.
King Kong. Okay, Notorious B.I.G. was a like hunger stand, like basically unstoppable monster that kind of like Giorno had to amputate both his arms to like get away from him.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Basically, the entire group got fucked, and it would have Church got her stand and like sent into the ocean.
That was a really cool. That was a really cool chapter. I like that a lot.
It's pretty great. So, any other fights you want to talk about?
I think we should talk about King Crimson and Diavolo. Diavolo is a really cool character.
This whole thing we're talking about is going to be like the last fight at the Coliseum, I guess. Then.
Yeah, I just like we don't have to like go into like specific, but like his character is just neat because he's like obsessed with fate. He thinks that he's like the luckiest person in the world. He always says things like he thinks that because he has the stand power that he does that he's like destined to win because he can literally like change the future.
Yeah.
In a sense. And he's so full of himself. It's kind of interesting.
He's very but he also wants to be like left alone, like secrecy, like don't want anyone to know who he is. That's
actually like at first it was kind of jarring to be like, oh, this goofball is actually the boss, but it's kind of like the perfect cover to have your like your main henchman just be you. Yeah. Because no one will ever find your identity out. Yeah. Like unless.
The one part where like Doppio's like playing soccer with kids and like he kicks the ball over to Abaccio who figured out who the boss was. Yeah. And he comes up and just King Crimson appears and just punches him in the chest.
Yeah.
And like
ruthless.
That was amazing.
And he actually because he took a kid's his uniform or whatever, and he like somehow used like the kid's shoelaces to like suture his mouth shut so he couldn't scream because Abaccio walks towards like or one of them walks towards like who they think is King Crimson's corpse or because he's like almost dying, but it's just a kid that he's like beat up and like it's so creepy when you see like the shoelaces are sealing his mouth closed. Really cool.
It's really ruthless, like a mob boss would you expect a mob boss would be.
Just kill kids is not a big deal.
Pink-haired mob boss.
I do really like his design. Like
I love it too.
When he becomes like Diavolo.
Like. And then, so, basically, they go to Coliseum, they meet Polnareff, but, like, basically Bruno's trying to crawl, they're in the middle of, like, they're in the middle of, like, Bruno reaches him, he's, like, hurt, but Doppio comes in and, like, lifts him up to Polnareff, but he realizes, like, oh, there you are, I killed you, and then, basically, they have a little bit of a scuffle, but fucking ends up, like, you know, his signature move is punch you to the back, and kills Polnareff. But, like, at the same time, but before that, Polnareff takes the arrow that he had and stabs his stand with it. Mm-hmm. And this is our introduction to Requiem stands.
Hooray.
So, we got Silver Cherry Requiem, who looked awesome. Like, I love the outline. Like,
he looked like
always trying to walk away from you always, because the Requiem stands, you have your stand with the arrow, it evolves to a Requiem stand, and it basically gets the ability that's of something you need at that moment. So his thing was to keep the arrow away from Diavolo, because Diavolo wanted to grab the arrow so he can kind of stand to be even more OP. Even more OP than it already is.
Yeah.
And so Silver Cherry Requiem walks away with the arrow, and at the ability, it puts everyone in the vicinity to sleep, and it can control your own stand when you get close to it or try to attack it.
And it also switches everyone's bodies.
After everyone falls asleep, it switches everyone's body
with whomever is closest to you.
So Giorno was Narancia.
Yes.
Narancia was Giorno. Mista was Trish. Trish was Mista.
Trishta, as I like to call it.
Bruno was Diavolo. And Diavolo's missing.
Yeah, and
Doppio was in was he in Bruno's body?
He was in Bruno's body.
And Polnareff ended up in Turtle. And
and the turtle died.
The turtle died in Polnareff's body. Which happens, I guess.
Which I thought was And then like shortly after this, we have Norencia
so
dying in Giorno's body.
Yeah, so they all like look around like where the fuck is Norencia, and he's like Giorno's body just like on a grate like spikes through it, and he's take him off, and he's so Norencia is dead. And what's it called?
And then Doppio dies in Bruno's body.
Yeah, because Bruno's body was basically dead, and
yeah.
So
like
we're trying to find out.
Moment.
So like So yeah, so I guess Giorno's able to go back into his own body because
what happens? Yeah, Giorno like explains. I don't remember exactly how he heals his own wounds because they keep their stand powers when they
they
switch
keep
bodies.
their stands. Yeah,
so he
part
heals
of your personality, your spirit.
I don't know why Norencia's like soul died, but he's able to heal his body back, and then because Giorno says because there's like an emptiness in his body, he's able to re-enter it.
Yeah.
So then
there's some weird body horror, like there's like the weird like mom's like the baby and the baby's the mom.
Yeah.
And, like,
the cop was amazing. That was one of the best parts. The cop just goes around like shooting people. Also, Mista in Trish's body, just immediately blowing the cop's face away with the gun, and then Trish, who's in Mista's body, is like, "Wait, what happened?" She's like, "Oh, I thought I saw something," and they just keep walking. It was just like this weird like side story about this horrible crook that becomes a cop and just starts like beating people up, and then he just gets murdered.
I love it. I just felt sorry for him. He switches back, but
also, there was this weird thing that happens that was really like not explained where Polnareff Turtle is like saying how the Requiem stand is like changing evolution, and like another weird head of the turtle comes out.
Does it?
And people around him start like mutating and growing eyes. For some reason, Mista's body, like Trish, who's in Mista's body, starts growing like weird shit on.
I don't remember that much.
It's weird. It's weird and it's not really explained because all the characters are chasing after.
This Requiem stand, right? Because Diablo, right now, like Diablo is like
he's in Mista's body.
It was like he's his other personality. He's a sub personality also, so he's in someone's other personality right now. We don't know who he is. So he was in. Was he in Trish?
He was in Mista's body, which Trish was also in.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is like he waits for the moment when Trish tries to use her stand, and then he captures her stand, and then is able to take full control of her body because he's like dominates her or whatever.
But yeah, so he gets.
But then he just jumps out.
Yes. Well, they get the arrow back from the Saber Chariot, and the stand kind of goes away because that was all it was supposed to do was pick the arrow, and didn't do it. I think it went away.
And then Polnareff's body died. So.
Yeah, Polnareff's body died. They all switch back, so everyone's back in their. Well, they're not back in their body because Giorno grabs the arrow or gets the arrow and stabs himself with the arrow, and comes Gold Experience Requiem.
Mm-hmm.
So you explain the.
So yeah, Gold Experience Requiem has the really cool power of making you die forever. He's just like King Crimson ends up fighting him one-on-one, and he punches him, and then King Crimson like wakes up. Or no, King Crimson falls into initially because they're by a river. King Crimson, this Diavolo who's back in his body now because everyone switched back. He falls into the river, and then he gets in like a fight with a homeless guy, and the homeless guy kills him. And then he wakes up in a morgue. And he's talking to the woman who's like doing an autopsy on him, and she's like, "Oh, you're dead. You died." So then he just keeps like going through these scenarios where he's dying.
Loop of like, wait, edit tomorrow where he just dies like every time, because he wanted to his thing was like he wanted to die. It's like Diablo had like a weird like thing where he kind of wanted to die but didn't want to, and like he just Giorno gave him would give him the worst face in death was like. Never able to die completely, where you die but you never stay dead.
Yeah, and there's like a creepy little girl in one of them, and like
gets hit by a car in one of them.
Yeah, which actually that was really cool foreshadowing because the first thing we see with Doppio is he gets hit by a car because he tries to save a kid's life, and he ends up getting hit by a car. But then it's like not a big deal because he's fucking King Crimson, so he's like saves himself. But that was cool foreshadowing.
So our only survivors are Giorno, Trish, Mista, and Polnareff now a turtle for life.
The part when Polnareff's ghost came out of the turtle and he was like, "Hi, I'm a turtle now." I was like, "This is great. This is exactly where Polnareff needs to be."
He becomes like an advisor to them now. Like it's great.
Yeah, and then they have that really awkward like epilogue.
Yeah,
it's not even like an epilogue. It's like a flashback.
Yeah, it's like a weird flashback at the end with like Rolling Stone and like.
It's
Bruno.
before Giorno joined.
Yeah, like adventure that the gang had before. Yeah. And it's just like about like his destined to like die like a painful like Bruno's painful death.
Mm-hmm.
Like destined.
Yeah. And there was a really nice moment where Giorno sees Bruno's soul like go to heaven, and he's like you were a good bro. Tell everyone I love them. And I was like, Bruno, don't die. I love you.
Yeah, and that was the end of part 5, though.
Yeah, it was awesome. I really liked it. I think it was my favorite part.
I liked it a lot. Part 7 is still my all-time favorite, but part 5 is still pretty good.
The problem is I haven't read the other parts.
I know.
I didn't read 1 through 4, so
the anime is pretty good too. The adaptation, like I read them, so
honestly, I mean, it'll be interesting to compare when the anime comes out, but I think I like reading it better just because the pacing is so much quicker.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they like stretch battles out to make it fit a like 22-minute long episode.
Yeah.
Where sometimes it's just like all you need is like 4 chapters, and it's like that was perfect. Like.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for you. I mean, you're gonna move on. I had to get on part 6 because part 6 does kind of drag on the beginning part.
It does. I can see why it does, but I enjoy the characters enough where it's like I'm enjoying part 6.
Yeah.
It does. I get a lot of shit from what I read though.
So of the first 5 parts, you put part 5 on the top.
I think so. I really like part 2 and 4 a lot, but part 5 is just I really like. I have a good connection with it. I feel like I really like a lot of the characters more than I have JoJo characters before. Like Misto is really cool. Even like the Narencia, like characters that weren't my favorites were still really good.
Side characters are still great.
Yeah. Giorno, I really like Giorno. I think Giorno's a really cool JoJo. I know that's not like a super popular opinion.
Like too much ass pull for him. Like
the
whole man in the mirror fight. Like he made like the anti-venom out of the snake.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of bullshit. Like he pulled out of his ass, but like where Josuke, like he can't get beat up because he can't heal himself. Everyone else is kind of fine if he's alive, but like the stakes are if he lives, or he has to like not get brutally like injured.
This one it was just like there's the one part where there were like stakes like that was during the part when he loses both his arms.
Yeah.
And
towards BIG.
Trish is like, hey, can't Giorno just like heal us up? And then Bruno's like,
he needs his arms.
He needs his arms. Like I don't know what he's gonna do.
He's growing his arms back, and I can zip him back on there. But
and then and she finds like one of his ladybug brooches, and it's just like horrifying, like hands coming out of it.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. It's really cool.
But yeah, so.
But yeah, I really like part 5. I really like Giorno. I just love Joseph so much. I love part 2. Part 2 is so good.
Yeah, like the part 5 is some of the best fights for stands.
Mm-hmm.
I can say that. Like.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, a lot of people had gripes more so about the ending. I'm pretty sure. Like most people agree with the stand fight. People love it too.
I can see that, but to me the ending felt so perfect because it was so batshit crazy that I like could not.
It's
predict
what you get when you
happen.
read something called Bizarre Adventure. So like
I can't believe I didn't have any of Part 5's ending spoiled for me because it was such a surprise.
I was hoping that like Polnareff didn't get spoiled or
that was a great surprise. The whole body swap thing was great. Like I understand why people don't like it, but Mista and Trish's body is like the best thing ever.
You got hairy knuckles. You smell a bit.
Oh, that was cute. I like their little like burgeoning romance at the end. Like all our friends are dead. Let's go eat some pizza.
Bruno's corpse over there. It's fine. Let's go to Tonio Trendy's.
I'm surprised they didn't have Tonio Trendy come in.
He's in Moria.
I guess so. It's just kind of funny because like he's like one of the biggest connections to Italy, and then he just doesn't show up.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's fine. They don't need to always do
I got a recipe to how to make like a fucking dessert out of nowhere.
Spoilers.
Spoilers for anyone who wants to make an Italian dessert.
Was it tiramisu?
Tiramisu. Part 8's a recipe if you want to.
Yeah. Part 5 has really made me crave Italian food. I've been making a lot of Italian food lately.
Yeah, that's that ink spaghetti. So, alright. So that was like part 5. Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Read it. If anyone definitely read it.
If you haven't read it, then
if you know someone who refuses to read or is curious about like part 5, get them to read it. Recommend it to them.
If you don't like part 5, then you're dumb.
I can understand why you don't like part 5, but it's probably better than part 6.
Do you think part 6 is the worst part?
I don't think. I don't know. Part 1 still didn't do much.
Part 1 is not good.
Other than Speedwagon.
Even Speedwagon was a part.
I mean, like, Dio himself kind of carries that more so than Jonathan. Yeah. So, like, and part 3 is kind of it's okay compared, but it's not as fun. It's like a road trip, but like I like the adventure, like detectives and everything kind of going.
You know, I'm not a huge fan of
part 6 is not really my favorite. Kind of my lower 3. I'm thinking like 1, 3, and 6.
How about 5? Where does 5 stand?
I like part. I think it's right under. I like 4 more than 5. I think. I love Kira too much.
Kira really makes part
It's
4
like
so much better.
Cause I'm not gonna bring part 8 yet until it's done.
Yeah.
But like part 7, 4, 5, and 2.
Yeah.
They're both all 4 are really good. Part 8's been really good too, but
Part something. Part 4, Kira is just so awesome. Part 4 is just a little inconsistent for me.
Yeah.
Whereas Part 5 felt very consistent.
Like part 4, I love Rohan and I love Kira. Like those two alone made me like love that.
Rohan's
that
really
part.
fun.
I just love that like asshole like doesn't give a fuck, hates people.
Yeah.
Other than Kyoichi.
Kira is just, you can't beat Kira. Like I like Kira more than Dio personally.
He's the best villain. Like I think he's probably the best villain.
He's not going to win any Crunchyroll Anime Awards though.
No, gotta get that Iron Fortress or.
Did it really? Is that what won?
Or it was like that one. They had like someone like erased.
Oh, it was the erased one.
And no.
I didn't hate Erased. I kind of liked Erased, and that character was a terrible villain. I hate anime. Anime was a mistake.
Araki himself said that manga was a mistake. But yeah, so any other thing you want to talk about part 5?
That's really it. I really like it. I think it's my favorite part. I need to revise my JoJo list.
Yeah. Well, we need part 6. I think part 6 would be a good time to revisit your JoJo list after you read that.
Mm.
So we'll probably be back with after you finish part 6 then.
Yeah, I'd like to do another one of these. This is fun.
I mean, we went like almost an hour.
Yeah.
We were just crazy.
I think that's a good amount of time.
That's a decent amount of time, I'd say. I'm
Yeah.
talking about JoJo for an hour. I'm not
gonna turn that down.
All right, so.
All right, I've been Jim.
I've been Sam.
Oh, and yeah, I should also plug our normal podcast.
Plugs.
If you happen to have just watched this video because it's on YouTube, and you don't really know us, we just review other shows. We don't really do like in-depth reviews. We just kind of watch a few episodes of a show.
We get tired of watching it.
Yeah, we pick a really weird show and give it a try, and then we give our thoughts on it.
90s live action anime kind of shit, like Power Rangers and that Hyper Police kind of shit.
There's some weird things. We did recently a new show airing this season actually called World End. What are you doing at the end of the world? Where have you been? How did you find them?
You got Venus bit in your arm.
Will you help us?
I got.
So yeah, check us out. We're on iTunes. We're on YouTube.
And other stuff.
If you like this episode, if you have been listening, send us an email and tell, hey, I want to hear more JoJo stuff.
And Jim, what would that email be?
TheNeoncast@gmail.com.
Wonderful.
Alright.
Alright, this has been Sam and Jim.
Alright, peace out.
Peace out.
Oh, oh, no, 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 no.